Test. All right, back here in the Sports Barn, Thursday, May 14th, 2026. Hey, it's only been 3 years since I've been out here with any kind of regularity talking about sports or making baseball picks. Where have I been? Oh, I've been just losing. How's that? That's what happened. I mean, if you're one of my subscribers that's still alive, I was good. What year was that? 22, 23? I think it was 23. I was good. I was winning. I won. Well, I'm just gonna leave that. I forgot. First video in forever, so you're gonna be some glitches like I forgot to shut the volume off, so you're gonna hear that annoying goddamn every time somebody sends me a text. Anyway, I thought I'd get back into it. At least, I'm sticking my toe in the water. So we'll see. I might get bored. I might get busy. I might just lose interest in it. I have lost interest, but I want to get back into it. That's the whole thing. Making these videos helped me handicap. It helped me be in a rhythm, a routine. That's important when it comes to handicapping. You need a routine. You need discipline. You need to get into that system where you're doing the same thing over and over again. That produces winning. When you're bouncing around and you're spending 10 minutes on it here and 5 minutes there and an hour the next day, that's a mess. That just leads to a mess. That leads to losers. And that's what I've been doing. So I'm going to start making some of these videos again and seeing if that doesn't get me back into a rhythm of making winning baseball picks. Like I said, I used to win. Haven't lately. But we'll see if we can get back into it. So let's get to it here. A lot of these games are going off very soon. Like I said, it's a mess. First video back. Right around noon, 12:30-ish, you got the Rockies and the Pirates. I don't love this game. Now, what we're going to do, I think, is just pick every game. For at least initially, we're just going to flat bet every game. Just pick them all. I'm going to try to keep track of the record. That's another critical item that I've gotten away from, is keeping records. You gotta keep records, otherwise it's impossible to analyze what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. So you have to have a historical record of what you've done. You can't tell what's going to happen tomorrow unless you have some idea of what happened yesterday. So I will keep the record. That way you can look at it and say, does this guy know what he's doing? Or is this just, he's telling me A, but I don't know if he has any idea what he's doing. So should I take A and believe him, or should I take B and fade him because he looks like an idiot? We'll have a record. That way you'll have a little more informed decision as to whether to fade or tail. I don't love this game. Like I said, we're just going to pick them all, if for no other reason, just to, as an academic exercise for one thing. I used to be an excellent test taker. I used to get A's on all the tests I took, and this is basically just one big test, right? They're asking you an answer. There's a right answer and a wrong answer. I used to be very good at that sort of thing. So, as an academic exercise, we're going to pick them all. Also, then I think that gives you a reason to be here. That, hey, I'm a Rocky fan, and you never talk about the Rockies. Well, you're guaranteed for at least a minute or two that I will talk about your team. So there's that. I'm going to say the Rockies on this one. I don't love this game. I don't like picking the Rockies on the road. They've historically been a terrible road team. View this more as a fade of the Pirates than a tail of the Rockies. Minus 182 on the Pirates. That's a lot. Majinski, nothing special there. He's probably going to be short. He's on my fantasy team. I've followed him a little bit this year. He'll strike some guys out. He's almost certainly going to walk a bunch of guys. He's going to be short. He'll be out of the game by the sixth inning. The Rockies hit the ball pretty good last night. Scored 10 runs. Mickey Moniak is an offensive threat. Mickey Moniak was the number one pick in the whole draft a few years ago. Most people don't know that. He flamed out with Philadelphia, never developed. They tossed him off I think they traded him for Brandon Marsh. And now Moniak is starting to find himself in Colorado. Better late than never. Guy has some pedigree. So we think it's worth plus 160. Now we like this game. This Washington Reds versus Cincinnati Reds. This is just basically a field that right now the Nationals are better than the Reds. The Reds are not hitting. Even when they hit, I don't know if they hit. The Nationals are just hitting a cover off the ball. I mean, they are just scoring like crazy. They have got multiple guys that can put the ball out of the park. C.J. Abrams, James Wood, Dalen Lyle right now is killing the ball. They are a significantly better offensive team than the Reds. Now you're getting this ridiculously high price on the Reds today because of Chase Burns, and he's the kind of guy we love to fade. The guy that throws 110 miles an hour and strikes everybody out, and the guy pitches 5 innings, and then you're into their terrible bullpen, and then you beat him. Whereas we have Foster Griffin, and that's the kind of guy we love to play. No one knows who he is, but he's a good pitcher. This is a nobody guy who went to Japan for 3 years, and now he's back, and he's born again hard. This guy is pitching like an ace right now. And we're getting plus 138 on what we think is the better team. That's a deal. That's an absolute deal. Detroit Mets. We're going to take the Mets. I mean, we're laying some wood here, and that makes us a little nervous. It's the Mets. The Mets. The Mets are playing better. They're calling up some young blood, shake things up. There's no way the Mets are as bad as their record indicates. McClain is their ace, if you will. He has pitched pretty well. Detroit's nothing special right now. They've got a lot of injuries. They're feeling bad for themselves. Tarek Skubal out for God knows how long. Kerry Carpenter, he's out. Gilbert Torres, he's out. They're just not hitting on all cylinders at the moment. And we're going to lay the wood there at home on a getaway day with the Mets. Feel okay about that one. This is a toss-up game here, this Miami, Minnesota. Don't love it, but we're going to say Miami. Just because we think they're better. They're better. I mean, Zebby Matthews, he's a prospect for Minnesota. He hasn't been tearing it up in the minors, so maybe yes, maybe no, we don't know. He, like I said, hasn't been, sometimes that happens. A guy is just bored down there in the minors, and when he gets a big call-up, then, everything's on display, and he has a really good game. We're hoping that's not the case. Uh, Braxton Garrett. Well, he was one of the Marlins' better pitchers a few years ago, and he got, I assume it was Tommy John. He hasn't pitched in 18 months. But now he's ready. They've gone through the rehab and all that other stuff. One thing I saw interesting in the minor league lead up to, the game today for Garrett, they did pitch him pretty hard one outing. 90 upwards of 100 pitches. I thought that's, you're coming off big surgery and they're throwing you damn near 100 pitches. I guess that means they think you're ready, or you're telling them, hey, I feel great. Let me keep going. So we're going to say Garrett's going to be right today. We like the plus price. We think Miami's better. Again, early in the year, sometimes you get these sort of situations where a team you think is just better than another team is an underdog. And we think Miami's just better than the Twins. We really don't think much of the Twins at all. They just, Josh Bell hitting cleanup. That's a zero player there. That's a guy whose WAR at the end of the year will be zero. And if he's right in the middle of the lineup, what does that say about the whole team? Padres, Brewers. Don't love this game. Normally I would say, I like the Brewers pretty much just reflexively. That's a pretty big price. I like the Brewers organization. I think they do more with less than most teams do. They're always better than what you think they are. Last night they had a little bit of a shot in the face where they had a 1-0 lead with two guys on in the ninth inning, and they're just one out away from putting the 1-0 win in their pocket. And Abner Uribe got one too close to Gavin Sheets and then ended up in the parking lot. So San Diego ended up pulling out the big exciting win there on the 27th out. So I kind of don't like that carryover all that much. But I just think Milwaukee's at home. They're better. They got a better pitcher. Don't love it because that's pretty stiff price, but we'll lay it. Push comes to shove, we'll take the better organization, and that's the Brewers. Got some angles that point us towards Houston here. Seattle totally gave away a game last night. They should have won. They gave it away because their relief pitcher can't field. Threw a ball into center field in the 8th inning that cost them the tying and ultimately the run that beat them. Whereas Houston had they should have won the game in the 9th inning, and their relief pitcher could not throw strikes and ended up walking the tying run in. But then he was able to make a play and throw out, I believe it was Naylor running down the line on a little squibber down the first base line. A pretty tough play for a relief pitcher who usually screw things up. Relief pitchers are the worst fielders in baseball, without question. But this reliever, instead of throwing it in center field like the Mariner guy did, he actually was able to get Naylor out at first base, and that won the game. So we kind of feel like, this is still, until the Mariners really start to earn it and really consistently win 90 games a year, the Astros, we feel, are still a little bit more class than the Mariners, even though their record at the moment doesn't show it. And we love fading Luis Castillo. That's a guy that just, his reputation exceeds his ability. We're going to take the home dog here with the Astros. We feel okay about that one. Cardinals, Athletics. And I put Oakland there. I'm going to I don't know, do you call them Sacramento? the Sacramento A's, or do you say the Athletics? I'm going to say Oakland over and over and over again in these videos. I don't know, I care. You know, they're Oakland. They're Oakland. Until they get to Las Vegas, they're going to be Oakland. I don't even know MLB recognizes Sacramento as the team. Anyway, I digress. We like Oakland's offense. Even the guy, they had a big injury happen and they brought up another guy that looks like he can play. This Henry Bolte. He had a couple hits last night. According to the broadcast I was watching, he had like 12 hits in a row in the minors. Now he had 2 more last night. He's got, 14 hits in a row. It sounds like I'm making something up, but I think that's true. So how do you bet against that? I mean, you know, now, Henry Bolte aside, what you're really betting on is Shea Langoliers, probably the most dangerous offensive player that you've never heard of. He's this year's Cal Raleigh. And Nick Kurtz, of course, he had a grand slam last night. So he's starting maybe to see the ball a little better. So those are 2 incredibly powerful, dangerous offensive players for Oakland. We're only laying 111 at home. Cardinals are okay. They're nice. But we think Oakland's starting to hit the ball. And we're going to go ahead. Lopez, he's all right. McGreevy, he's okay too. But we're going to take Oakland there. Okay, this is the game of the day as far as I'm concerned. The Sports Barn is squarely within the Philadelphia sports sphere of influence. We eat, breathe, drink Philadelphia sports here, and that includes the Phillies. My favorite player in the whole damn world right now is Ranger Suarez. This guy was a soldier for us for 10 years, 12 years. Well, certainly since the world ended. He's been our most reliable guy in the playoffs. He was money in the playoffs. He wins. The guy wins. And when it come time to pay him the money, to pay him the contract, to keep him in Philadelphia for basically the rest of his career, they kicked him to the curb. I'm from Philadelphia. You kind of have to root for the team, the local. That's how I was brought up. You got to root for the local sports team. You got to root for them. However, I'm an old man, so I can tell you, sometimes there are teams that you root for, like the '93 Phillies. Love that team. Or the Golden Era Phillies, the '08, '09, the Rollins, Utley, Howard, Cole Hamels Phillies. We love those guys. And then there are teams like this edition of the Phillies with Bryce Harper, where I guess I'm contractually obligated to root for these guys, but I really don't like them. I really don't. Some days I like them even less than normal. And they threw away my favorite player, Ranger Suarez. Just said, we don't want you. We don't want you. You're too expensive. We don't believe you're any good. If I was Ranger Suarez, I would be living for this game. Here comes the Phillies. Oh, by the way, the guy that is pitching is the guy they paid the money to. They signed Jesus Luzardo to the big contract, not Ranger Suarez. So, man, I wouldn't be able to sleep if I was Ranger Suarez. I'd want this game so bad. Now you're saying, well, he'll probably be too excited and won't pitch well because, and that happens, and you're right. That's a very plausible possibility. Now, one thing you need to know about Ranger Suarez is the man has no pulse. That's why he's so good in the playoffs. Nothing bothers this guy. That's why I think when the Heat's high tonight, he's going to be there. That this is going to be the kind of game that he would thrive in. And we like it. I mean, we're getting paid for it. Plus 102. Well, Phillies are under 500. Why on earth are they favored on the road over anybody? We like this game pretty good. Pretty well, I guess I should say. But, Zardo, he's either, he'll strike 10 guys out and throw a shutout, or the game will be over in the third inning. We're hoping for the latter. We like Ranger, go Red Sox. For people that like good baseball, we got the Cubs and the Braves. Big game, leading division leaders, the Braves and the Cubs. Have a couple angles that are pointing towards the Cubs, and we're just going to kind of go with our gut here. I don't see any reason right now to get off the Braves. They are killing people. They are on a roll. Everybody's playing well. I mean, the only guys not playing well are guys that aren't there, like Acuna. He's hurt. Well, they don't miss him. They're just whipping people right now. Their pitching is just great. We're not big Ben Brown fans. The Cubs at the moment are kind of tailing that. I would say the main guy in the Cubs lineup, the big thumper in that lineup, is Suzuki. And he's not hitting at all. So I see no reason. This is a very generous price for Sale against the not-so-great Ben Brown. Atlanta at home. Why would you get off these guys right now? Like I said, that's a pretty nice price. We're going to go ahead and lay that. Royals White Sox. Interesting game. Do you know the White Sox are a 500 team? Just 2 years ago, they were pushing. I don't think they actually did break the Mets record. Did they? I don't remember. I can't remember if they broke it or it was the Rockies last year. Both teams were awful. I would argue the Rockies were worse than the Mets. Not the Mets. The Rockies were worse than the White Sox. Because now the White Sox are average. Which from where they were, it's amazing. They got some guys on this team that are going to be stars. The guy right now, Murakami, is a star. You've never heard of this guy, but he has 15 home runs. He's going to hit 35, 40 home runs this year. That's one of the things you look for when you're handicapping. Do you have any Japanese guys? Because if you do, you look twice at that team. Nobody knows who these guys are, and they're all good. They're all good. Very rarely do you see a Japanese guy who's like, okay, that guy sucks. It happens, but for the most part, they're better than what you think they are. Look at the Dodgers. Look how many Japanese guys they have on that team, and that's a large reason why they're the champions. It was the guy not named Ohtani that won the World Series last year. Yamamoto was the MVP. I'm pretty sure I have that right. So we think good things are happening right now in Chicago. They won a very exciting game last night over the Royals. The Royals right now, they're not hitting. Bobby Witt is starting to play better, but he's all by himself. No one else on that team is hitting. So we're going to, again, tasty price plus 120. That's where we're going to be there. Last game of the night, Giants, Dodgers, West Coast royalty. The one team that's not afraid of Chavez Ravine is the Giants. They played there so often. It's old hat for them. They don't tremble at the sight of the Dodgers and the Dodger blue. The Dodgers are not really hitting the ball. They're not hitting like they. The Giants won the first two games of the series, if you can believe that. Now, last night, Ohtani shut them out. Now, I've got a theory here on Ohtani. I don't know if it's true or not, but it feels true. So, why not? Ohtani's hitting. He's probably not that good of a pitcher. But right now, he's pitching lights out. Not that good of a hitter. He's not hitting like he has. He's not that monster. I can't get this guy out guy right now. So the Dodgers, just in general, are not scoring like they can. Betts coming off the DL. He's probably not going to hit for a bit. I don't know if Freeman's totally locked in yet. Otani's not hitting like he can. I mean, they lost the first two games. I think they scored 2, maybe 3. They got 4 last night and won 4-0. Just, it's not a frightening offense at the moment with the Dodgers. So, kind of think this is, again, a pretty tasty price, and we're going to go ahead and take a chance there. So, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll see how we did. We'll have Friday's games for you. I'm trying to get this so I want to shoot these things live, where I believe that'll be less work for me, but I just don't know how to do it yet. So I'm still learning how to hook that up, where I can simply push a button on the phone, have all the settings correct, here I am, and then it's done. No uploading, no editing, no bullshit. So that's what we're ultimately shooting for. I don't know if I think we'll get there. Hey, I got the AI robot to help me, so maybe that'll help. But we got a whole mix here. Favorites, home teams, dogs, what have you. I'm Eric Arnold. We'll see how we go with this. See if we can get back in the handicapping rhythm. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I believe in winning baseball picks. How about that?